Firefighters and EMS workers come to stations like this all over the United States daily, knowing that it could be their last day. The United States Fire Service has done a phenomenal job in reducing line of duty deaths. We still have troubles that we as a fire service need to address. Hi, I'm Marc Bashoor, Executive Editor for FireRescue1 and FireChief.com. As we consider what needs to be done, let's take a look at the 2019 report. There were 62 on-duty firefighter deaths. Breaking that down just a little bit so you understand the scope of everything. Of those 62, 34 were volunteer firefighters, 25 were paid firefighters, and 3 were wildland firefighters. 37 of those firefighters died from activities related to an emergency incident. Specific to fire scenes, 18 firefighters died due to activities at a fire scene. 12 firefighters died from activities at non-fire related scenes. 8 firefighters died while responding or returning from an emergency incident, while 5 firefighters died while participating in training activities. So when you add all that up, only 30 died on an emergency scene. Since we tend to sensationalize the fire scenes, let's look at that real quick. 5 died advancing hose lines, 3 died during some kind of incident command function, 3 died during search and rescue, 2 during unknown circumstances, 2 during support, 2 during standby, and 1 during setup at an incident. We tend to focus on the structure fires as we think about line of duty deaths. That's just the natural inclination for folks, is to focus on the structure fires. But it is interesting that as you look at the statistics for 2019, of the 62 line of duty deaths, only 17 of those were at structure fires. Now, consistent with other years, 13 of those 17 were at residential fires. Only 4 were at commercial fires. I know that a lot of folks would think, well, the commercial fires, that's more difficult. Why is it that more people are dying at residential fires? Well, 2 reasons. One, we run a lot more residential fires than we do commercial fires. And while in theory, that means we should be better on residential fires. I believe what happens and what you see happening routinely across the United States is we let our guard down. We let our guard way down when it comes to those things that we run all the time, and that unfortunately leads to a lot of these problems. As you look at the report a little further, you see that 60% of those line of duty deaths for 2019 were related to an emergency incident. 60% related to an emergency incident, while 40% were related to non-emergency events. But the statistic that I want us to zero in on for a minute is the 58% of those 62 firefighters, so that's 36. I want us to focus on the 36 firefighters who died from what was classified as overexertion. Of those 36, 33 died from heart-related events. 32 of those were heart attacks. Now folks, we can directly control our own health, wellness, fitness, and diet plans to be able to positively influence those numbers. Now we know this is a stressful business, and we know that the tasks we perform can drive the adrenaline that trigger medical events. But we also know we have a lot of work to do with our own health, wellness, fitness, and diet. Just look around your stations, and yes, maybe it's time to look in the mirror. We can do better. We can have significant impact on most of our own deaths through improvements in our health, wellness, fitness, and diet. Tracking the causation is a complex weave of data mining and collection that in large part's the result of work done by the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation and the United States Fire Administration. 2019's data provides a promising glimpse of the continued downward trend of line of duty deaths. It does remain troubling, though, that 33 of our firefighters died from heart attacks. It is important to note that the 62 deaths recorded in 2019 is the lowest number in the 44 years that records have been kept by the United States Fire Administration. Also important for perspective, the Hometown Heroes Act, signed into law in December 2003, provided for presumptive language that recognizes heart attack and stroke as line of duty death. If you follow the trends and consider the Hometown Hero Act line of duty deaths in 2019, there would have been 52 line of duty deaths as we have tracked results in the past. After the Tampa 1 and Tampa 2 summits, the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation and the Truman Fire Forum have made a Fire Safe America their focus. The Fallen Firefighters Foundation initiated the program to get below 50. That's to get below 50 line of duty deaths, which many of us thought is never going to happen. Some in our service say, you know what, the deaths are inevitable, get over it. Well, that's hogwash. We've proven that we can reduce the line of duty deaths, even with the Hometown Heroes Act recognizing more fatalities in there. We're nearly at the get below 50. We're nearly at the point where we can start fathoming having no firefighter deaths. Yes, this is a dangerous job, and yes, you could say it's inevitable that there's going to be incidents where a firefighter may have to pay the ultimate sacrifice. However, it is not an inevitable causation for a firefighter to die in the line of duty. The incidents we respond to, we need to do everything we can to keep firefighters safe, to keep paramedics and EMS personnel safe in the response to those incidents. And as they get there, all of the things that have to do with everything from active shooters to vehicle accidents on the highways to fires. We need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep people safe. So as we look to finishing out 2020, we need to remember that that word inevitability should have nothing to do with the expectation that when these firefighters and EMS personnel come to work, that they're not going to go home. That should never be in the vocabulary. Taking care of ourselves, looking at our own health, wellness, and fitness, and making sure that we look out for each other. We know that we can impact 53 to 54% of the firefighters that die in the line of duty from heart attacks. We know we can have an impact in that. It's up to us to do it. Are you up to the task? Thanks for joining us. I'm Marc Bashoor, Executive Editor for FireRescue1 and FireChief.com. Keep safe, stay smart, and take care.